Chapter 19. Where the law grows fragile. At the crest of the hill, just as the trees closed in around them again, the gunfire broke out. Ophelia didn't think, she turned instinctively, placing her hands on Rowan's shoulders as if her own body could shield him. The shots came from the southeast. Another crack split the air. "Stay still," Rowan ordered softly. A sharp sting pierced her side. Brief burning. Ophelia stifled a moan, blaming the pain on a broken branch. There was no time for anything else. "We're almost there," he said. She forgot to pretend fear. "Watch your back when we get inside." Rowan didn't answer. He took the back path toward the stables. His men were already coming through the woods, armed. The doors burst open. Rowan went in first. Before Ophelia could dismount, the stablemaster took the mare. The pain returned when Rowan held her by the waist. Ophelia gritted her teeth. "Kerrigan," he ordered. "Stay with her. Close up." He tried to mount again. Ophelia grabbed him with both hands. "Don't go out," she said, breathless. "They want to kill you." "I know. Then. I intend to kill them first." Another shot rang out. Rowan gently released her arms. "Close up," he repeated. "I'll be right back." The doors closed behind him. Ophelia didn't leave the peephole until Kerrigan forced her to. She couldn't sit. She paced. She prayed. She cursed Rowan for not being the cold, predictable man reports had described. That man protected. That man hurt with his affection. The doors opened again. Rowan was standing. Alive. The horse covered in foam. Ophelia's legs gave way. "Are you okay?" she managed to say. He smiled calmly, as if returning from a stroll. "When I got there, it was already over." "Don't lie to me," she demanded. "Tell me straight." He sighed. "I caught two. When I went after the others, they were gone. They ran. There were signs of a fight. Your men. With me." Ophelia lowered her gaze and intertwined her fingers. "It doesn't make sense," she murmured. "Footprints. Blood. No bodies. Fight among themselves." "Without noise," he replied. "Impossible." Rowan kept watching her silently as the certainty began to take shape between them. Someone else had intervened. And they weren't visible allies. Chapter 20. The hunt begins. Ophelia watched him silently. Rowan seemed to be piecing together everything that had happened in the last few hours, but the concentrated, almost fierce expression sent a shiver down her spine. She remembered a story Black Hale used to tell about the grey bears of the northern wilds, bold animals, smarter than the hunter, capable of leading him unknowingly to his own death. The thought unsettled her. "You scare me when you look at me like that," she murmured. "I hate it when you frown." To lighten the confession, she exaggerated the gesture, twisting her hands. "You regret getting involved in this," she added with forced irony. "I can't blame you. If you stay with me, they'll kill you. I'm like black cats, bad luck. Leave me here. I'll go back to London alone." Rowan looked at her slowly, as if he had just heard an insult. "I think you just repeated it," he said. "Didn't I tell you no one touches what's mine?" "I don't belong to you," she replied, irritated that she hadn't moved him. "You're unbearably possessive." "I am." The certainty in his voice forced her to hold his gaze. "And you will belong to me." Ophelia raised an eyebrow. "You must have been a terrible child. I bet you didn't share your toys." He didn't have time to answer. Rowan made her stand and wrapped an arm around her, leading her toward the house. "You can't keep protecting me," she said, more serious now. "It's not fair for a father to lose two children." Rowan sighed. "It's not fair for a brother to lose his only sister either." "I don't regret it, Ophelia. And I won't leave you. I am your protector." She nodded solemnly. "You're more than that." She rose onto her toes and kissed him, brief but determined. Then blushing, I'm not usually like this, everything feels strange with you. Do you think I'm being bold? Rowan didn't smile. He kissed her again, slow, unhurried. I like touching you, he admitted. And discovering that you want it too. When they pulled apart, Ophelia took a moment to catch her breath. You tried to shield me during the shots, he said. And before that, you saved my life without knowing it. I was scared. I know. They walked toward the house. Ophelia began to feel the weight of pain, her head, stomach, side. Still, she stopped when she saw the path covered by ancient trees, the natural canopy of branches, the red brick house, majestic, almost intimidating. You didn't tell me you were so rich. I live comfortably. This isn't comfort. It's a palace. She stepped away from him. I don't like rich men. I'm sorry, Rowan said, amused. Why? Because I still am. He stopped at the top of the steps. Fear surfaced, involuntary. Rowan saw it. Everything will be fine. I'm not afraid, she replied, offended. Then softened, if I were, it would be because I don't trust you. And I don't. I counted 11 armed men who didn't shoot at us. That would calm anyone. This time she truly stumbled. Rowan caught her. My knees are weak, she explained. And my side hurts. What doesn't hurt, my love? She huffed. I'm a woman. According to you, weak by definition. When you look at me like that, I forget everything else, he answered. You have eyes like green fire. Then the door opened. A tall, stiff man dressed in black watched them from the doorway. Holling, my butler, Rowan said. He may look like a gargoyle, but he's loyal to death. Holling descended with dignified steps. Good morning, my lord. Was the hunt successful? I wasn't hunting. Were the shots for sport? It was a hunt for men. And was it successful? No. Holling nodded, more interested in Ophelia than the answer. She's beautiful, he admitted. We'll have to get to know her character. She is, Rowan agreed. Will she stay here? Yes. Guest room or yours? Ophelia stepped forward. I'll sleep alone. With a sturdy lock. I'll check it personally, milady, Holling replied, a mocking spark in his eyes. A distant thunder announced the storm. Send Fairfax for the doctor, Rowan ordered. It's not necessary, she protested. It is. Is he sick, my lord? She had an accident. She threw me into the Thames, Ophelia clarified. Not that one, Rowan growled. He has a head injury. And the side, she added. And I don't want to be manhandled. I won't allow it. Holling cleared his throat. Ashcroft disappeared a month ago. We can call Sir Hardwicke. Do it. Ophelia shook her head, dizzy. It's just a bump. She brushed her hair aside to show it. The gesture drew an involuntary groan from her. Rowan held her tighter. The storm was beginning to fall. Chapter 21. To descend, without losing the name. Holling's compassion was immediate. Under Rowan's stern gaze, the butler transformed into an attentive maid, murmuring condolences, offering his arm, and helping Ophelia up the stairs as she leaned on him with a surrender that did not go unnoticed. You must go to bed immediately, milady, he declared. How did the fall happen? I lost my balance. My own clumsiness. Impossible, Holling replied fervently. You don't seem clumsy at all. Ophelia smiled, encouraged by the attention. It doesn't hurt so much now, though my side. I don't want to seem like a complainer. Rowan thinks I'm exaggerating. Rowan appeared behind her and held her shoulders. Let's see the side. Take off your jacket. No, she replied, entering the hall. You'll only make it tighter. She passed by the line of servants clinging to Holling's arm. I expect a room at the front, she said lightly. I like windows that look out onto the woods. Rowan, convinced she was exaggerating, turned toward the door.
Set her up, Holling. I have matters to attend to. Have Fairfax fetch the doctor, the butler ordered from the stairs. She's very pale, milady. And her hands are freezing.
Ophelia immediately pulled away. She hadn't noticed how much she had been leaning on him. Holling had.
She'll dine in bed, he added. Is it true that my lord threw you into the Thames? That's how it was. And he still hasn't apologized. He also threw my bag.
Now I'm poor, she said with a smile.
Fortunately, Lady Lydia lent me dresses. You don't seem distressed. I don't practice sadness.
The bedroom was bright, elegant. Ophelia approached the open window. The path, the woods, the perfect distance for a nighttime signal. Everything was still as planned. Can you clean the jacket?
It's torn, and so is my side.
Holling didn't answer. Ophelia looked up.
Are you all right, sir?
The butler's face had taken on a greenish hue.
Sit down, she ordered. You're about to faint.
He shook his head but then raised his voice with an unexpected roar.
My lord.
Rowan was coming up the stairs when he heard the shout.
What has this woman done now? He murmured, quickening his pace.
When he entered, he stopped dead. Holling was struggling to get up from the armchair. Ophelia held him by the shoulder and fanned him with a book.
What's happening? He fainted, she explained. Help me, her side, my lord.
Holling exclaimed.
Look at the lady's side.
Rowan understood before Ophelia could react.
He turned her around.
The white blouse was soaked with blood.
My God.
Ophelia looked and her knees buckled. Rowan caught her.
You didn't know. I thought it was a scratch. She's lost a lot of blood, Holling murmured.
Rowan pulled the fabric aside with trembling hands.
Don't look, my dear. Does it hurt? Now it does, she admitted, pale. Then she saw the clean tear in the garment. They shot here.
They ruined Lydia's jacket.
A gunshot.
Holling guessed. Rowan cut the blouse with his knife.
She's going to faint, warned the butler. I won't, protested Ophelia. And it's not proper for you to cut my clothes. I'll do it myself. Dizziness overtook her. The world spun. Holling, she managed to say, will you apologize or not? She didn't finish the sentence.
She collapsed into Rowan's arms.
Chapter 22.
The art of watching in the shadows. Ophelia woke up abruptly, disoriented. The bed, the clean sheets, the fresh breeze coming through the open window. It took her a few seconds to accept the uncomfortable truth.
She had fainted. She turned her head.
Holling was watching from one side, Rowan from the other. Both wore serious expressions.
The bullet passed through you, he murmured. Thank God, replied the butler.
Ophelia frowned.
Which one of you decided to undress me while I couldn't protest?
Holling jumped. Rowan barely smiled.
Do you feel better? Yes. And you can let go of my hand now, Holling. I won't be in the way. She tried to move Rowan's hands from her side. You're squeezing me. Almost done.
His voice was harsh, his touch careful. Ophelia noticed the contradiction.
You're angry with me. No. You could fake it better.
She complained as she felt the bandage.
Is it too tight? You think it was my fault.
Holling intervened cautiously. My lord only becomes irritable when he's worried. Rowan finished the bandage, and finally looked at her.
It's superficial. You'll heal soon. The relief was immediate. Cover my legs, Ophelia ordered. And don't look.
The firmness in her voice brought a discreet smile to Holling's face before he left for dinner.
They were left alone. I've decided to be lazy, she announced. And you'll stay here. This is your fault.
Rowan sat beside the bed and took her hand.
Have you found the reason yet? Not yet. But give me your word. I won't leave your side. At night you can go to your bed. He didn't answer.
Ophelia smiled to herself. She had won. She barely ate and fell asleep right away. She woke once, uneasy about the signal she had to send outside. Then she saw him, Rowan, sleeping in a chair by the bed, barefoot, shirt open, overcome by exhaustion. The image disarmed her. He wasn't just attractive, he was refuge.
She took a candle and approached the window. "What are you doing?"
The deep voice startled her. Rowan was behind her, tousled, vulnerable. Ophelia absent-mindedly tucked a lock of hair behind his ear.
"You'll look tomorrow," he murmured, blowing out the candle. "Go back to bed." "My side hurts a little," she admitted.
Rowan took off his shirt and slid in beside her.
"Just until you fall asleep. This isn't right. Rest." He wrapped his arm around her.
Ophelia tensed, protested in vain.
He was already asleep. She sighed, defeated. She knew he would respect her. He was a gentleman.
And yet, as she curled against him, a persistent thought accompanied her to sleep. Maybe she didn't want him to be one so much after all. Still, that had been a night when Ophelia doubted.
Not Rowan nor the cause, but herself.
Whether her past allowed her to stand on the side of the light, without betraying herself. Whether she carried too much darkness inside to walk without breaking what she tried to save. Then she remembered something she had never fully been able to explain, that a seed doesn't apologize for having been buried. The darkness that shaped her wasn't the absence of good, but preparation. It had given her patience, endurance, an intimate understanding of others' fear. Ophelia could recognize the tremble before the mistake, the silence before the betrayal. She knew when someone could still be saved, and when not.
That's why when it came time to act, she did it not with fury but with precision.
As if she knew that every revelation has its time, and that forcing the truth out too soon is another way to destroy it. Maybe Rowan hunted the truth. She, on the other hand, guarded it until it was ready to come into the light.
And without fully knowing it, that was what made her dangerous and necessary. Chapter 23.
A man trained to hold himself back. For 2 days they couldn't find Sir Hardwicke. Rowan sent messengers to London and to the doctor's estate, without success. Finally the reply came. Hardwicke was attending a birth at Lady Morwenna's house and would come as soon as he finished. Rowan vented his bad mood on the waiting, until Ophelia, now out of danger, reminded him that the messenger himself had informed the doctor of her improvement. She neither needed nor wanted more hands poking at her wound. The confinement, however, began to take its toll. Ophelia hated stillness. And the persistent rain since her arrival seemed determined to match her mood. Rowan wasn't any better. He paced the room like a caged animal, hands clasped behind his back, talking about the past, the brother, the loose ends that still didn't fit in the murder. He always ended the same way, still not enough for a firm conclusion. For Ophelia, that half-hearted interrogation was as exasperating as it was necessary. She rationed truths, measured silences. Constant wear and tear. They argued often. She accused him of regretting having protected her. He was offended, without fully denying it.
And what unsettled her most were no longer kisses, no shared nights, no kind words that weren't tinged with caution. On the 4th night, Ophelia rebelled.
She removed the freshly changed bandage, asked for a bath, and declared herself recovered.
The hot water and the hearth's fire gave her back some balance.
Holling ordered the sheets changed and insisted she return to bed. When darkness fell, Ophelia settled in to read. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Then the storm truly broke. A lightning bolt split a giant tree, the roots burned, the wood hissed like meat on a fire. In the stables the horses bolted. Rowan rushed to calm them. His colt settled as soon as he entered. He returned past midnight, soaked through. He left his boots and jacket at the door and went upstairs. Another thunderclap shook the house.
She must be scared, he thought. I'll just check she's all right.
He opened the door before she could react. Ophelia was awake, lit by 2 candles, a book in her hands. Rowan leaned against the doorframe and watched her. He accepted, with an uncomfortable clarity, that he liked seeing her there.
Even her frown.
She closed the book slowly.
I knew I should have locked the door. I'm not up for another inquisition tonight. All right, she mistrusted. Seriously. Then you shouldn't be here.
Give me a good reason.
My reputation.
And your obvious lack of dry clothes. Rowan closed the door.
I thought you didn't care about reputation. When I thought you'd kill me, no. Now I do. He smiled, tired. It's not lust. The storm. I'm not scared. Too bad, he admitted. I thought I'd comfort you. She held back a laugh.
He sat on the edge of the bed. Ophelia pulled her legs back just in time. Silence filled with unsaid things.
I'm not like the women you know, she said.
Rowan barely listened. Rain dotted his skin. Ophelia's nightgown left little to the imagination.
He knew he should leave. He didn't move.
Another lightning flash lit the room. Rowan jumped up and looked out the window.
That must have knocked something down.
Ophelia came closer and took his hand.
It will pass soon. He looked at her, surprised. He nodded. My uncle used to say storms were angel parties, she added. Did you believe that? No. But it helped.
Rowan laughed deep.
You're dangerously honest, Ophelia. She let go of his hand. Sometimes a lie protects too, she said. Not everything is black or white.
Rowan said nothing.
Outside the storm kept roaring, inside something different began to break. Chapter 24.
When honor falters. Rowan watched her for a long time, as if searching for a crack. Give me another example, Ophelia, he murmured.
Have you ever lied to me? She nodded. It took her too long to answer.
Rowan grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at him.
Which one was it?
There was no warmth on his face. His eyes were like a promiseless winter.
You don't tolerate lies no matter the reason, right? Tell me. I said I didn't dislike you. And that was a lie.
The weight lifted from his hands.
I thought it would be something serious, she exhaled. Like what? Like you were married. It crossed my mind, she admitted, but I'm not good at making things up.
Rowan smiled absent-mindedly as he rubbed her shoulders.
Why would you want me to believe that? Because at the tavern you seemed like a predator.
I thought compassion would hold you back. Compassion, not desire. Ophelia nodded.
We're drawn to each other, she said. I never wanted a man to touch me like you do. I'm glad to know that. He wrapped his arms around her. Now you want me to touch you. She stepped back. It doesn't matter what I want.
You're my protector. You have to leave me alone. Rowan pulled her close. Ophelia felt the undeniable heat of his desire.
It doesn't work like that, he said. I desire you. The confession disarmed her.
Ophelia wanted to run and stay at the same time.
She had never allowed such closeness.
Love, she had learned, was exposing yourself to loss. A thunder rolled in the distance. Neither of them heard it.
They looked at each other.
Rowan's expression was slow, inevitable. Ophelia moved toward him. The kiss was deep, urgent, without compromise.
There were no half-truths there.
When he pulled away, Ophelia clung to his chest, breathing in his scent of rain and earth.
Are there more lies?
Rowan asked.
Maybe, she admitted. I'll tell you when I remember them. Do you love me? He didn't wait for an answer. Tell me the truth, Ophelia. I desire you, she confessed. And it terrifies me. Desire should be a joy. It's also a fall. She trembled.
Rowan hugged her tighter.
I will take care of you. I will survive, she said, both a promise and a warning. What are you thinking? About not losing myself.
Ophelia kissed him before he could ask more.
I love you, she whispered. But promise me something. Anything. Don't fall in love with me. The request enraged him and broke him.
Ophelia touched him as if there were no tomorrow, with a mix of innocence and determination that shattered his control. Rowan responded without restraint. He had never felt this way, not only desired but chosen.
There's no turning back, he murmured. You will belong to me. Yes, she replied. Tonight. No, he corrected, kissing her slowly. Forever.
Ophelia nodded, not yet understanding the weight of that word.
Tell me what to do, she whispered. I want to please you. And the storm finally began to ease.
Chapter 25. What he shouldn't have desired.
The rain had returned.
Not with its initial fury, but with an obstinate persistence, as if the sky refused to withdraw completely.
It struck the window panes with a slow, measured rhythm, like the sway of a tide that comes back when it already seemed to have ebbed.
Rowan led her without words. Ophelia felt the world narrowing around that gesture, around that closeness that no longer allowed for retreat.
There was no haste, but there was no doubt either.
What followed was less an act than a shared surrender, like the sea advancing over the sand, and the sand even knowing what it loses, not pulling away.
She trembled.
Not only because of the unknown, but because of the intensity of being seen, claimed, irrevocably chosen. Rowan sensed that fragility, and although desire pulled at him like a treacherous current, he paused long enough to steady her.
Look at me, he asked softly.
Ophelia did. In her eyes there was fear, but also a resolve that surprised even herself. The union was not gentle or perfect. It was awkward, restrained, pierced by a stab of pain that forced her to cling to him like someone gripping a mast in the middle of a storm. Rowan remained still, breathing against her forehead, as if he too needed time to adjust to what could not be undone.
Stop, she whispered, holding back tears. Just a moment. I'm here, he replied. I won't leave you.
The rain persisted outside, and that sound, constant and deep, was the only thing that kept the silence from becoming unbearable. Ophelia understood then that not all surrender is flight, sometimes it is trust. When they finally moved again, it was she who sought him out, who drew him close with a timid but unmistakable gesture. Rowan understood the signal. What followed was a shared rhythm, imperfect and growing surer with each moment, like two bodies learning an ancient language. The pain receded, transforming into something new, expansive, almost dangerous in how much it promised.
Hold on to me, he murmured. Don't let go.
And Ophelia did not let go. The storm reached its final outburst. Thunder shook the house, and at the same time something broke inside her and reassembled itself in a different way. When the final shudder passed through her, Ophelia spoke his name without thinking, not as a plea but as recognition. Then came the silence. A thick, full silence. Rowan stayed beside her, unhurried. Ophelia felt the weight of what had happened settle in her chest, with a mixture of fullness and vertigo.
They had not lied to her, there was no turning back. But no one had told her how much it could hurt, and at the same time, how much it could illuminate.
She thought, with a clarity that frightened her, that she had given him something more than her body. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a thread.
I think you should go now.
Rowan did not answer at once. He shifted just enough to be beside her, not over her. Ophelia, against her will, edged a little closer, seeking the warmth she was not yet ready to lose. She wanted words. Not eternal promises, not solemn vows. Just something she could keep when she was alone. But she said nothing. Pride held her in silence.
Do you regret it? He asked at last.
Ophelia shook her head, not looking at him.
No. But I don't understand either.
Rowan watched her for a long moment, as if he had already made a decision she could not yet imagine.
This doesn't end here, he said. What we shared doesn't dissolve with the night.
Ophelia closed her eyes. The rain kept falling. Not violently, but with the obstinacy of the inevitable.
Chapter 26.
The gift of survival.
The tenderness in Rowan's voice made her shiver.
Ophelia realized that if she didn't control herself, she would end up crying without quite knowing why. That closeness, the way he was still there, attentive, unhurried, undid her more than any previous gesture.
"No, you don't feel it," she said at last, her voice a mere thread. "If you did, you would have stopped when I asked you to."
Rowan did not answer right away.
"I couldn't stop." "You couldn't?"
Ophelia turned her face to look at him.
"No," he repeated, with a calm that unsettled her. "I couldn't."
The expression in his eyes softened her. There was tenderness, yes, but also a spark of humor that left her unsure whether to take it as lightness or as a way of protecting himself.
"I'm glad you don't feel guilty," she said finally. "You have no reason to." "Why?"
Rowan asked, enunciating each syllable.
"Because you didn't force me into anything. I was the one who decided." He raised an eyebrow. "And what was I then?"
Ophelia ignored the playful note in his tone.
"You were present. But I was the one who allowed you to be."
Rowan was about to laugh, but stopped when he saw how she twisted her hands.
This was not a trivial argument. Something fragile was at stake. "All right," he conceded. "You took the initiative. Does that put you at ease?" "Yes."
"Thank you."
"Then tell me," he added, his voice deeper, "why did you want it?"
Ophelia fixed her gaze on the ceiling. The blush rose to her face again, and Rowan was once more struck by the contrast. So recently she had been pure surrender, and now she looked like a girl who didn't know where to put her hands.
"Because I wanted it," she replied. "I always knew I wouldn't marry, and I wanted." She stopped. "You won't understand. As soon as I leave, I'll stop mattering to you."
She waited for an angry reaction. Instead, Rowan burst out laughing.
"You're unbearable," she murmured, turning her face away. "I want you to leave."
His fingers brushed her neck with calculated gentleness. "Ophelia, it was inevitable."
"It wasn't." "It was," he replied in a whisper. "I've wanted you for far too long." She held her breath. "Do you know something?" he added. "What?" "I want you again." Before she could reply, he kissed her.
Ophelia allowed it for only a few moments, until the insistence forced her to react. She pushed him away, and they rolled together, ending up face to face. She avoided his eyes.
"Rowan." "Yes." "Does that mean it was good?"
He lifted her chin with his thumb.
"Yes. It was very good. I didn't disappoint you." The question disarmed him. "No," he answered gravely. "You didn't disappoint me."
She nodded slowly.
"You didn't either." "I know," he said with a crooked smile. "How?" "By the way you responded. By how you let yourself go." "Oh."
Rowan's smile dispelled the last trace of unease.
"It was striking, wasn't it?" "I didn't imagine it could be like that," she admitted. "So intense."
Rowan pressed a light kiss to the crown of her head.
"I like that you carry my trace with you." "Why?"
"Because it reminds me that you're still here."
"I should wash." "I could help you."
Ophelia pulled away quickly, and got out of bed before he could catch her.
"You won't," she said, searching for her robe. Then she saw the stains on the sheets. She froze. "You made me bleed." "It was your first time," he explained calmly. "It's normal." The certainty left her speechless. "Really?" "Yes."
"Only the first time."
"It's not as if there will be a second," she hurried to say, "but—" "Only the first," he repeated, without commenting on the rest.
He watched her while she washed behind the screen. When she returned, she was tense, irritated with herself and with him. Rowan, for his part, seemed settled in for the night, far too comfortable for her liking.
"Rowan," she said firmly. "This can't happen again." It's time for you to go. Come to bed, he replied. You need to rest. Will you cause me trouble? Without a doubt. Speak seriously. I am. I'm also being realistic. He came too close.
Rowan caught her easily and pulled her against him. Ophelia noticed even then the care with which he avoided hurting her.
This isn't over, he murmured. It's just begun. Don't mention marriage, she interrupted him. I'll wait, he agreed. But you'll stay here, at least for the agreed time.
The reasonableness of his tone disarmed her more than she wanted to admit.
Yes. And do you think I'll live like a monk? Yes. Impossible, he whispered. I want you. Now.
The deep voice, the closeness, the way he slowly loosened the knot of her robe. Ophelia knew he was doing it on purpose, that the mystery was no accident. She closed her eyes when she felt his fingers trace her with deliberate slowness, as if he were not trying to possess her again but to remind her and himself that what had happened would not dissipate with the night.
Chapter 27.
Daughter of the margins. Ophelia closed her eyes and, almost without realizing it, settled against him. Her resistance dissolved like a poorly held excuse. Rowan did not rush her. On the contrary, he seemed to read every breath, every hesitation, as if the true pleasure lay in taking his time. He kissed her until she stopped thinking, until her body responded before reason did.
You're trembling, he murmured with a tenderness that disarmed her. Don't be afraid. Rowan, she whispered, not finishing the sentence.
She did not struggle anymore. She let him guide her, let him stay. The world shrank to that small space where only touch, warmth, and an intensity that overwhelmed her existed. Ophelia discovered with amazement that she could abandon herself without losing herself, that desire was not a threat but a force that claimed her whole. When she spoke again, she did so clinging to him, as if the answer depended on it.
Promise me something. I don't promise what I can't keep, he replied with an honesty that hurt. But tonight is ours.
She accepted that limit, the way one accepts an uncomfortable truth. She kissed him so as not to think, to postpone the future. Rowan responded with the same restrained urgency, and what followed was less a rush than a shared surrender, slow, deep, inevitable. Later, when the trembling subsided and the silence became complicit, Ophelia nestled against him. Rowan wrapped his arms around her, protective even in rest.
I've never given myself like this before, he said softly, almost to himself. Don't take it lightly. I won't, she replied. Never.
She smiled against his chest, though she knew he could not see her.
I'll never forget you, Rowan. He was already asleep.
Even so, he held her when she tried to pull away, as if the body knew what the mind had not yet accepted. Ophelia yielded to that embrace, aware that at dawn everything would be more complicated. She closed her eyes to the murmur of the wind at the window, and a new unease beating in her chest.
He dreamed of light.
She dreamed of shadows swimming beneath the surface, patient, waiting.
Chapter 28. The hunter learns to wait.
The next morning her body still ached in a new and disconcerting way, but it was not that which kept Ophelia alert, rather the doctor's words. Sir Hardwicke, meticulous and talkative, confirmed that the blow was not serious. Rest would suffice. Rowan listened to every instruction as if it were a military order, attentive, silent, overly protective. When they were finally alone, Ophelia took the opportunity to ask about Rowan's father.
That was when the first crack appeared.
The Duke of Ashcombe was slowly fading, not from bodily illness, but from the loss of Edmund. The name surfaced several times, always accompanied by awkward silences and evasive glances. Edmund, the favoured son. Edmund, the absent one. Edmund, whose disappearance no one seemed willing to explain fully. And then, almost as if it were a trivial remark, the night warden came up. According to Hardwicke, Rowan was openly searching for him. Not as a mere pirate, but as the one responsible for a chain of misfortunes, disappearances, rumors of enslavement, unresolved vendettas. Even the disappearance of another physician, Sir Ashcroft, had ended up, without proof, being attributed to the same name. The Night Warden had become a convenient scapegoat, too convenient.
"Revenge will ease my father," Rowan said without hesitation. "Justice is not always revenge," Ophelia replied. It was the first time they truly clashed.
The conversation broke apart entirely when the doctor with careless lightness mentioned Lady Ainsley. Not as a certainty but as a social expectation, the wife the family wished for Rowan. Ophelia concealed the blow as best she could, but something rearranged itself inside her. It was not jealousy she felt, she told herself, but a warning. From that moment on, she avoided Rowan as much as she could. During dinner he spoke of lands, of responsibilities, of the people who depended on his name. Ophelia then discovered another facet of the man. He was not only audacity and desire, there was in him a sense of duty that bordered on obstinacy. Holling, attentive and silent, reinforced that image with brief but revealing comments. For both men, pride was a force as vital as it was dangerous. That night, Ophelia understood that nothing was simple. The dying father,
the lost brother,
the Night Warden turned into an ever-present shadow. Lady Ainsley, still unseen but already threatening. And Rowan, too close, too deeply inside her to pretend indifference. When she finally fell asleep, it was not with the calm of certainty, but with the unease of one who senses that love in this case will not be a refuge but a trial. Intimacy had ended. What was beginning now was something far more dangerous.
Chapter 29.
The weight of a borrowed identity. For 8 days, Ophelia lived in an unexpected truce. Rowan was attentive, even gentle, as if he knew how to read her moods before she understood them herself. The evenings were the best part, the fire lit in the study, Holling arranging the books, and the three of them sharing a comfortable, almost domestic silence. Ophelia soon understood that Holling was not merely a butler. He had been Rowan's pillar since the cradle, and he remained so now. The man did not hide his relief at seeing her there. With a half-smile he confessed that he had not seen his lord so light of spirit in years. Ophelia did not reply, but the blush betrayed her.
The truce broke with a message from Rowan's mother.
She asked for help. The Duke was wasting away in grief. Rowan went at once. He returned 2 hours later with a hardened brow, and a silence that allowed no questions.
That night he fell asleep without a word. That was when Ophelia made a decision.
Before dawn she met with Thomas and Jem under the cover of the trees. Both looked at her with the same mix of wariness and fierce loyalty.
"I saw him with you at the window," Thomas growled. "Did he touch you?" "I was injured," she replied. "And he was worried. That's all."
It was not a lie, but it was not the whole truth either. Jem muttered something about slitting dandies' throats. Ophelia cut him off at once. "If anyone touches Rowan, they will answer to me."
That silenced them.
Ophelia was direct.
"I'm going to speak with his father.
In the meantime, I need you to keep Rowan occupied." Thomas smiled, far too pleased.
The distraction began at dawn.
Ophelia understood too late that she had been too unspecific. The stable was on fire.
At least the horses were safe.
The chaos was enough to keep Rowan tied up for hours.
She took advantage.
She slipped out unseen and reached the Duke's house before the day had fully risen. She forced the lock quickly and moved through the bedrooms in silence.
She found the Duchess asleep. The Duke not there.
He was in the library, slumped in a chair, as if even sleep weighed on him. Ophelia locked the door and watched him. He had the same profile as Rowan, but life was slipping away through his sunken eyes. When she touched his shoulder, the man woke with a start.
"Do not be alarmed," she whispered. "I have come to help you." Who are you? It doesn't matter. Promise me you will not speak of this conversation. The hesitation was brief. You have my word.
Ophelia took a deep breath.
I ask your forgiveness.
I could have come sooner.
I don't know what you mean, but go on. Your grief is killing you. My son is dead. The night warden murdered him.
Ophelia set her hand firmly on the desk.
No. The night warden did not kill Edmund. The Duke looked at her as if he wanted to hate her, but could not. The night warden saved him, she said.
Edmund is alive. The silence that followed was as dense as a held tide.
Chapter 30.
Half-truths.
The Duke took time to react.
Without taking his eyes off Ophelia, anger rose to his face in irregular blotches, his gaze hardened until it turned icy.
I warned you that I have proof, she said before he could explode.
Do you wish to hear it, or would you rather cling to your pain?
I will hear you, he replied at last.
But if this is a mockery, I will kill the night warden with my own hands.
I would understand, Ophelia nodded.
Do you remember when Edmund got trapped in that tree as a child? He cried with fear. You promised never to tell anyone, and told him that being afraid was not a sin. The Duke went pale.
I never told anyone. He told me.
And much more. The man's resistance began to crack.
He could have told you before he died, he muttered. He didn't die.
The night warden pulled him from the sea.
He was gravely injured.
Do you remember Sir Ashcroft?
My physician, he disappeared. We borrowed him to save Edmund.
Ophelia held his gaze a moment longer and without detours added the final piece.
He has a birthmark. I cared for him.
The Duke slumped back against the chair.
The Office of War sent me proof of his death. Precisely. The silence broke when the man sprang to his feet.
Edmund is alive.
Quiet, Ophelia ordered. No one must know.
Joy overwhelmed him.
He sat down again, trembling.
I understood when you said you didn't want Rowan to know, the Braithwaite brothers.
You don't trust your brother. On the contrary.
Edmund idolizes him. And he knows Rowan would attack anyone who threatened his own. Ophelia understood then. Rowan impetuous. Edmund cautious.
They spoke quickly.
Of betrayals within the Office of War.
Of a trap laid from too high up. Of Silas and Edmund hidden behind a false death.
Of the night warden, who had leapt into the water with the sharks because he never ordered what he would not do himself.
Rowan is in danger, the Duke whispered. He is being watched, Ophelia replied. The night warden is protecting him. Then the night warden is not our enemy. He never was.
Before leaving, Ophelia paused.
There is something you can do for me.
Do not let Rowan distance himself from his family. He needs it, even if he does not ask. The door closed. The Duke remained motionless for a long while, silent tears falling.
Then, as if life had returned to him, he felt hungry. He smiled.
He would have to pretend, but he could do it. His son was alive.
He thought of the green-eyed girl.
Of the night warden.
Of how fiercely the future burned.
When his wife burst in, alarmed to see him eating breakfast, he embraced her with a new serenity.
I have decided to leave mourning behind, he said. I have suffered enough.
She looked at him incredulous and murmured.
It's a miracle. He smiled to himself. Yes.
A miracle with green eyes. Chapter 31.
An unlikely alliance.
Ophelia returned to Rowan's house shortly afterward. She handed the reins to Thomas and went up the back staircase without stopping, until she found Holling planted in front of her door, rigid as a Roman sentry. The butler bowed twice and crossed his arms. "Milady, you were meant to remain in your room." Ophelia did not apologize.
And what exactly are you meant to be doing here?
Guarding the door. So that you do not leave.
She smiled gently. But I already left, Holling.
And I suspect your time is far too valuable to stand watch over an empty bedroom. The old man protested, but Ophelia was already patting his arm and slipping inside. She changed quickly and went down the main staircase, determined. Holling had changed position, now he blocked the front door, his jaw set.
You should not go out, he said, his voice icy. I can and I will. My lord insisted. And so do I, she replied.
The butler leaned against the door. Ophelia changed tactics.
Holling, how many servants are there in the house at present?
Taken aback, he answered. 5. The rest were in London, repairing the residence damaged by the fire.
Then Ophelia went on as if in passing, I can rely on your discretion.
The man straightened, offended and proud.
They are all loyal. I'm glad to hear it.
In a few hours there will be 2 guests.
No one must know. The Marquis did not tell me of any visitors.
Because he doesn't know yet, Ophelia said, throwing the door wide open.
It will be a surprise.
I thought you would appreciate the warning so you could prepare the rooms. She lifted her skirts and went down the steps lightly.
And don't frown, Holling. Tell Rowan that you tried to keep me inside. And I will tell my lord that you were not in your room, he shouted, helpless.
Ophelia did not turn back.
She smiled to herself. The hunt was still on. And she had just moved another piece. Chapter 32.
Saying less than you know. Ophelia found Rowan among the smouldering remains of the stables. Only blackened beams and the smell of ash remained.
The horses hastily gathered, snorted in an improvised corral while the men worked in silence.
Rowan wore his white shirt stained with soot and mud, fury tightened his back.
Is everyone safe?
Ophelia asked when she reached him.
He turned slowly.
His frown alone could have lit another fire.
Everyone except the one you borrowed. Borrowed, she replied with calculated innocence. You and your men.
Go into the house.
I want to help. You've already helped enough.
Rowan drew a deep breath, like someone holding himself back at the edge of an abyss.
Inside. Now.
Ophelia obeyed.
As she walked away, she felt his gaze fixed between her shoulder blades. On the first step, she turned back. If you're going to stay out here, try not to make an easy target of yourself.
Holling appeared at once, took her by the arm, and led her upstairs. Do as he tells you, milady.
I have never seen him so furious. I know, she whispered. Could you bring me tea? This day has not yet finished ruining itself.
As the butler withdrew, Ophelia paced the drawing room. She opened a shutter to let in the spring air, and as a precaution. Rowan's words kept echoing, you and your men. He knew more about Thomas and Jem.
The question was how much. The front door burst open.
Rowan entered like a storm. Ophelia sat down, folded her hands, and lifted her chin. She would not let him see her trembling.
Where did you go this morning? He roared. Don't shout at me, she replied calmly. I went to see your father.
Rowan's anger faltered for an instant.
I don't believe you. It's the truth.
He moved closer until he was standing before her, looming like a dangerous shadow.
When did you set the stables on fire? I didn't. Then you ordered it done.
Which men?
The 2 who have followed you since you arrived.
Ophelia held his gaze, aware that she could no longer retreat.
Thomas and Jem. Another lie. I deny nothing, she said softly. I gave my word and I cannot break it.
You will have to trust me a little longer. Rowan laughed without humor.
I will never trust you again.
Ophelia took a deep breath. My position is delicate.
I don't care.
Why are you here?
For you.
Silence fell like an anchor.
Speak, he ordered. I am here to protect you.
Rowan looked at her as if he had not heard. Holling appeared with a tray, saw his lord's face, and retreated.
Close the door, Rowan ordered. Don't speak to him like that, Ophelia intervened. He is not to blame.
Rowan clenched his jaw.
Sit down, Ophelia.
War had just been declared, and neither of them intended to retreat.
Chapter 33.
The language of gestures. Rowan's voice had dropped in volume but not in threat. Ophelia perceived it clearly. The fury remained intact, only more dangerous.
Sit down.
She measured the distance to the door.
She would not make it. You are not going to be reasonable, she said. No, he replied. Not today. The conversation would happen now.
Rowan knew it. He also knew that if he touched her, he would lose control. Pain cut through his chest like an open wound.
The night warden sent you. No. He sent a woman to do his work, he spat. Is he your brother?
Ophelia shook her head, backing away.
Listen to me. So it was all a lie then.
You were never in danger.
Not all of it, she whispered. You were the target.
Rowan understood it, without accepting it. Hatred and disappointment tightened him until he trembled. Did you let me touch you because he ordered you to?
The question struck like a blow. I do not sell myself, Ophelia said, her voice breaking. Not even for my brother.
Then came the roar. An ancient brutal shout that froze the air.
Did you call my sister a whore?
Silas burst in like a storm. Ophelia barely had time to move before Rowan lifted her and dragged her aside. Do not get in the way, he ordered her with terrifying calm.
The two men faced each other, equal in fury and strength.
Like pirates both born to violence. Ophelia knew that if no one intervened, they would kill each other.
He thinks you killed his brother, she shouted, desperate. He figured everything out. So you guessed it, Silas said slowly. Yes.
I am the night warden. And you murdered Edmund, Rowan roared.
The charge was inevitable.
Heavy blows shattered furniture, a painting crashing to the floor. Ophelia stopped pleading when she realized they could not hear her. Then she saw him. A thin man leaning on a cane, smiling from the doorway.
Edmund.
The name left Rowan as an impossible whisper. His grip loosened without his realizing it. Silas took advantage to strike him, but it was already too late. Edmund moved forward with difficulty. Alive. Smiling. Rowan held him when his strength failed.
Don't rush, he murmured. You're here. That's enough. There were tears in his eyes when he stepped back to look at him. You look like a pirate, he said hoarsely. Just like the night warden. I didn't tell him anything, Silas growled. But your brother deduced everything. Even that I sent my sister. One more word and I'll kill you myself, Ophelia cut in.
Edmund laughed, and in that laughter part of the tension dissolved.
I warned you, he murmured. About you and Rowan. Not another word, she cut him off. Sit down. And mind that leg.
As she arranged cushions and raised the injured foot, Ophelia understood that the deception was over.
The truth had come into the open.
And with it the war, external and intimate, had just begun. Chapter 34. The dangerous game.
Was Ashcroft with you?
Ophelia asked. Edmund nodded as he made his way limping to the sofa.
The night warden convinced him to look after me aboard the Cordelia.
He hesitated at first, but the night warden knows how to persuade. I think in the end, Ashcroft enjoyed himself more than ever.
Where is he now? At his house.
The leg will heal, he said, playing it down. Ophelia settled him carefully, a pillow behind his back, his foot raised.
He was pale.
Too pale.
"I'll ask for something to drink," she announced. "You've overexerted yourself."
She had not taken 2 steps when Rowan blocked her path and took her by the arm.
"You're not going anywhere."
"Ophelia," Edmund whispered, surprised.
"I allowed him to call me that," she said. "You allowed,"
Silas mocked. Edmund smiled, amused.
"She has many names. I used to call her Red."
"Silas, little girl."
"She likes it."
"She calls Black Hail Dolphin."
"That's an insult too."
"Who is Black Hail?" Rowan asked, weary, while forcing Ophelia to sit beside him without taking his eyes off Edmund.
"My uncle," Edmund replied. "He raised Ophelia after our father died."
Rowan absorbed it slowly. Ophelia's unease at hearing that name did not escape him.
"Years," Edmund added. "She was with him for years." "And you?"
Rowan snapped at Silas.
"Where were you while she was growing up?"
Silas muttered a curse. Edmund, exhausted, cut it short with a deliberate yawn.
"No one is killing anyone until everything is clear."
Then the crash. A flower pot shattered on the terrace. A curse rang out.
"Hail has arrived," Edmund murmured.
Rowan thought he was prepared for anything.
He was wrong.
The man who entered looked like something out of a picturesque nightmare, dressed in white, a red sash, weathered skin, silver hair. Ugly as sin, and possessed of a natural authority. He stumbled as he came in, others cleared the way for him. Behind him came Thomas and Jem, visibly bruised.
"This place is filling up," Rowan observed.
Ophelia broke free and ran to the newcomer. Hale caught her in a fierce embrace. A gold tooth gleamed as he smiled.
"I missed you, uncle." "Of course you did," he growled. "I'll give you a beating later for being an idiot."
He kissed her on the crown of the head.
"Is that Rowan?" he asked, winking. "I see he's still alive."
"Well done, girl." Silas growled something unintelligible. Hale ignored him. Ophelia tugged at her uncle's arm and spoke to him in a low voice. Hale frowned, studied her closely.
"Do you trust him?" "Yes," she admitted. "And what does that mean to you?" "Nothing. Look at me when you speak."
Ophelia lowered her eyes.
"I'm just glad the deception is over."
Hale did not seem convinced.
But he kept silent.
For the first time the truth filled the entire room. And no one, not even Rowan, yet knew what price it would demand. Chapter 35. The wrong name. Hale was not satisfied.
"If it means nothing," he insisted, "why all this effort to protect him?"
Ophelia dodged the truth.
"He is Edmund's brother."
Hale grunted. He decided to postpone the interrogation until they were alone.
"Even so," he said, narrowing his eyes at Rowan, "you should be kissing the feet of the Night Warden. Your brother is alive, isn't he?" "Now that you're here, everything will be clear," Edmund interjected.
"Don't count your victories," Hale grumbled.
"I still owe you a beating, girl." "I never doubted it," Ophelia replied, holding back a smile.
Rowan stood immediately, but Edmund made a calming gesture.
"It's theatre," he murmured. "It always is."
Hale requested a chair and planted himself in front of the hearth, examining Rowan as if he were questionable merchandise.
"You don't resemble the dolphin at all," he pronounced. "You and your sickly brother are far too domesticated."
Edmund smiled, eyes closed. Rowan understood. The bravado was aimed at him. "Do you wear glasses, boy?" Hale asked suddenly.
"No." "Anyone here?" "No."
Hale sighed.
"Then we'll need to get some." He looked at his men. "You know what to do." They moved instantly.
Ophelia pressed his shoulder.
"No plundering." "We're close to home," Hale grumbled. "No plundering." He leaned forward. There should be jubilation, he continued, but I hear tension. Aren't you glad to see the dolphin girl? Very, Ophelia replied. Normal, Hale said, winking at Rowan. Not even good at chess. Last time he was half dead, Edmund replied. Excuses.
Then Hale straightened proud. I am called Black Hale because I have a black heart. He paused, satisfied.
Very black, Ophelia confirmed. Well said.
Once my men return, I'll go to the quay.
They need to eat. I'll take care of it, she said.
Before leaving, she turned back.
Hale, please, don't let them kill each other while I'm gone. Don't worry.
The door closed. Hale murmured, almost tenderly.
Too beautiful for this world. Too much, Silas agreed, rough. For now, enough, Edmund cut in. Rowan is an honourable man.
Rowan barely listened. He thought of Ophelia, of the silences that didn't fit.
What is all this?
Hale growled.
A misunderstanding, Edmund said. Give me time.
Hale nodded.
Speak.
Silas muttered an accusation, but Hale interrupted him with genuine interest.
The Dark Bull. No, Rowan replied, resigned.
Hale seemed disappointed.
Then you don't deserve the nickname.
A man is worth what his name is worth.
And a woman, Edmund added.
Rowan closed his eyes. Absolute resignation.
Tell me about the Dark Bull, he requested.
Rowan did. Long. Colourful. Useless. Hale waited. Finally Silas smiled. Ophelia has a special nickname too.
I invented it, Hale said, satisfied.
Rowan opened his eyes.
Which one?
Hale stared at him.
The Night Warden. And for the first time since it all began, the silence was complete.
Chapter 36. Necessary lies. The revelation didn't register immediately. For a long moment, Rowan refused to accept that Ophelia and the Night Warden were the same person. Only a man, he thought, could have dared so much.
He shook his head.
Edmund, Hale and Silas exchanged a silent glance, tacit confirmation.
It's hard to believe, Edmund said softly. But it's true.
Hale gave her that name years ago. Because of the hair, Hale interjected.
Red as fire. And for being wild.
Rowan's disbelief slowly turned to anger. Silas, on the other hand, was enjoying the show. Do you really think a man would leave a rose when he left? He added cruelly.
It was obvious.
The silence fell thick. Edmund waited, he knew his brother. The explosion would come later. Ophelia was in the dining room when she realized something had changed. She moved with contained precision, almost feverish. She ordered the finest glassware to be brought out, and when she saw a silver tray she tensed.
Hide it, she commanded. Milady.
Everything Rowan values. Under his bed.
Now.
Holling watched her closely.
Something is wrong. He has been very good to me, she said, not looking at him. I won't forget it.
When Rowan's voice thundered through the house, Ophelia didn't turn. She ascended the stairs without haste, like someone who had already made a decision.
She's leaving, Holling announced firmly.
Rowan leapt to his feet.
She won't leave here.
He climbed the stairs two at a time, an unfamiliar fear hammering at his chest.
He threw open the door.
Ophelia was there, folding a golden dress, her bag almost full. The panic eased. He slammed the door and leaned against the wood.
Stop packing. You're not going anywhere. She turned.
She was about to say 1,000 things, but the fury in his face disarmed her.
I will never let you abandon me, Rowan said. Never. You called me a whore, Ophelia whispered. The word hit him like a blow. Part of the anger dissipated. No. You thought it.
Rowan stepped toward her. Ophelia retreated.
Don't come closer. Then you will be miserable, he replied, because I won't stop. You don't love me, she burst out. You love the weak woman I pretended to be. You don't know the real Ophelia.
I am strong. Determined. I used you to make you stay. Rowan held her against his chest.
I will leave, she sobbed. You will stay. I hate you.
Tears broke through her resistance. Rowan rested his chin on her head, saying nothing more. And in that tense silence charged with sea danger and unspoken promises, they both understood that there was no turning back.
Chapter 37.
A light that asks for no permission.
You don't hate me, Rowan whispered. I hate everything that has to do with you, Ophelia replied between sobs.
Above all, the way you always contradict me.
Are these tears a ruse? Of course, she admitted, choked. I don't cry. That's what weak women do. And you are not, he said with stubborn tenderness. Right.
He held her firmly, not to restrain her, but like someone clinging to the only certain thing. He wanted to believe he could hold her like that for a lifetime.
I love you.
Ophelia trembled.
Not from emotion but from fear. You are the most confusing creature I've ever known, he murmured. And yet,
I love you.
I don't, she replied with a traitorous hiccup. I don't trust you. I don't even like you. I love you, he repeated. Now and always. He held her until the tears ran dry.
When she finally pulled away, Ophelia wiped her face with the lapel of her jacket.
You go down. Not without you. I can't. They'll notice I've been crying. And what does it matter? It matters.
Appearances matter. Rowan watched her sit on the edge of the bed, upright again behind the mask.
You don't trust me, he said. No, she admitted with a shrug. I'll leave as soon as I can. I won't wait for you to abandon me. At last he understood. It wasn't defiance, it was defense. You think I'm going to leave you, he said. Of course.
Rowan sighed.
Very well.
You can leave whenever you want. Ophelia looked up, bewildered.
Thank you. He took her by the chin.
One detail, every time you leave, I'll come after you. I'll find you.
This is your place. You'd never manage it, she whispered, barely veiling her panic.
Rowan didn't answer with words. He kissed her first with restraint, then with a certainty that dismantled all resistance. When he pulled away, she cried again.
Will it always be like this when I tell you I love you? He asked, amused. You don't understand who I am, Ophelia said. Yes, he replied, taking her hand as he led her out of the bedroom. I understand perfectly.
You are mine.
And I hate your possessiveness.
Rowan stopped before the drawing room.
If you try to run in front of everyone, I will shame you. Is that clear?
Ophelia nodded. A moment later, the vulnerable woman had vanished. She entered serene, impeccable. Dinner will be ready in a moment, uncle, she announced. I am a fortunate man, the night guardian, Hale said, satisfied.
Don't call her that, Rowan growled.
My name is the night guardian, Ophelia corrected, her voice icy. Rowan squeezed her hand.
She didn't pull away. He still doesn't believe it, Hale observed.
Ophelia didn't reply.
But she knew that if Rowan truly understood her, he wouldn't hold on as if he feared losing her. Chapter 38.
The Covenant. Hale snorted, ready to launch into one of his favorite stories about Ophelia's exploits, when the men returned from the village. They approached awkwardly.
Well, he growled. What did you bring?
11 pairs, replied the shortest one. One by one, glasses of every shape and size began falling into Hale's lap. He tried on the first pair, squinted at Rowan, and tossed them over his shoulder.
Useless. He tried another.
And another. By the 8th pair, he sighed in satisfaction.
These will do. Try the others, Ophelia suggested. Maybe there's a better pair.
Hale complied and pocketed a second pair. Good work, boys. Rowan lowered his head, suppressing a smile. The image of half of England deprived of glasses was hard to ignore. By the time Hale gets home, the whole kingdom will be squinting, Edmund murmured.
Was that an insult? Asked Hale. Just honesty.
Holling announced dinner. Hale jumped to his feet, kicking the stool as he passed.
Are you coming, girl? No, uncle.
I'll stay.
I have matters to settle.
Rowan squeezed Ophelia's hand. Hale left with the men. Jem hesitated for a moment, looking at Rowan with open hostility. Ophelia held his gaze.
That was enough. Close the doors, she ordered. If you call me, I might not hear, grumbled Jem. You will. Me too, added Silas.
Jem left without replying. Ophelia turned to Edmund.
Let's finish this. I want to go. I'm ready, Edmund said. He settled in and looked at Rowan.
In Oxford, I was recruited by a man from the War Office. Intelligence. There wasn't an open war with France yet, but we all knew it was coming.
I believed I was saving England. And Silas?
Rowan asked.
We joined forces later. It took me a year to earn his trust.
Silas, attentive, adjusted Edmund's injured leg with unexpected gentleness. Rowan watched and, despite himself, realized he could never completely hate him.
It was then that he told me about the letters the night guardian had found, Edmund continued. Everything started there. He paused for a moment. Rowan, do you think it's possible for one government to operate within another? Yes. Have you heard of the Covenant? Yes.
Edmund froze.
How? After Ophelia's father died, there was an investigation.
Lands confiscated.
The children ruined. Who told you?
Rowan looked at Ophelia before answering.
I had inquiries made.
By a man I trust.
Is he reliable?
Silas asked.
He is, Edmund affirmed. More cautious than I am.
The silence that followed was not relief but certainty. What they had touched upon until now could no longer be ignored. Ophelia's back began to ache. She let go of Rowan's hand, surprised that he didn't hold her. Still, she didn't move. She knew she shouldn't. Rowan didn't threaten in vain.
She sat in the empty chair. Langford didn't interrogate anyone, Rowan said. He couldn't have, Ophelia replied. My father's file isn't there.
Rowan raised an eyebrow.
How do you know? Because I removed it. The silence tightened. That doesn't matter now, Ophelia hurried to add.
Rowan responded to Silas, without taking his eyes off her. Redgrave kept his own records. Those are what Langford read.
Was my father acquitted?
Silas asked.
No.
Nor condemned.
There was no proof. Now there is, Ophelia murmured. I've read the letters.
The sadness in her voice struck Rowan. He wanted to scold her.
He wanted to kiss her. He smiled without realizing it. Do you think this is a moment to smile?
Edmund reproached.
Sorry, Rowan said. Go on. After the funeral, Ophelia left with Hale. My father trusted him. Hard to believe, Rowan said. Hale has a good heart, Ophelia defended. I don't doubt it, Rowan replied. But there were alternatives. Not safe ones, Silas interjected. My father thought we wouldn't be safe here.
The letters.
They all converged on them.
Fox, Frost and the Regent. The Covenant.
At first they believed they served England, Silas explained. Then only the tribunal. The end justified the means, Edmund added. Like you, Ophelia, Rowan said. She looked at him, wounded. No.
I am not my father.
But you were going down the same path. No. Yes, Rowan confirmed.
Silas picked up the thread.
Harcourt, their director, began to suspect. Frost suggested sanctioning him. My father was going to warn him, Ophelia said. He never made it. He was murdered, Silas confirmed. Harcourt showed me his note at the funeral. The letters passed to Hale.
Then to the Cordelia.
I want them, Rowan said. Is the ship nearby?
Ophelia shook her head.
I can recite them. Word for word, Edmund added. He never forgets what he reads.
Rowan nodded.
Do it.
Silas hesitated.
If you call her the Night Guardian again.
Do it, the Night Guardian, Rowan repeated through clenched teeth. Ophelia began to recite. More than half an hour.
Not a single mistake.
When she finished, the silence was heavy, charged.
Good, Edmund finally said. The first letter was addressed to Thornton.
Signed by Edward. Before the operative names, Ophelia clarified.
Exactly.
Then came Fox and the Regent. Frost remains unknown.
That's later, Silas cut in.
Edmund nodded. What mattered was already on the table.
Chapter 39.
Silence as refuge. Edmund nodded. He had gone to Wilton with the story of the letters. He and Silas decided to trust their director. He had protected them for years, and even now, Edmund refused to believe he was connected to the tribunal. Silas did not share that faith.
The South had been an ambush.
2 informants at the port, a set-up meeting. Before they understood it, they were bound and gagged, thrown into the water.
No need, Ophelia murmured, tense.
Rowan sensed the fear the others didn't see, and watched her silently. Edmund continued. They cut him first, long shallow wounds on his legs.
Then they threw him into the sea.
Silas immediately understood what they were trying to lure. Edmund didn't, and he was grateful he hadn't known at the time. His voice faltered for a moment. Lowater Quay was nearby, and for days they shared refuge with Ophelia and Black Hale. Edmund, who still didn't know who she really was, fell hopelessly in love. Silas recounted it with a tired smile. Edmund confirmed it with studied lightness.
The jokes didn't hide the memory, they carried it.
Ophelia spoke. She and Tom had followed the two to the quay.
Something didn't add up.
When Rowan asked who Tom was, Ophelia stood and hid behind the excuse of fetching refreshments. Edmund stopped Silas with a gesture.
He still struggles, he said.
Silas continued.
When they tried to cut him, he struggled. They shot him.
He fell into the water with his shoulder on fire. Sharks came, drawn by the blood and debris in the bay. Rowan then understood Ophelia's nightmares. She had ordered Tom to find a boat, and jumped into the sea with a knife. The attackers had already left, confident of their deaths. Ophelia reached Edmund first, and managed to get him aboard. A shark took part of his leg.
Tom lost his balance and fell.
He never resurfaced. Silas never knew why the sharks ignored him. When Ophelia finished hoisting Edmund, she went back for her brother. Edmund woke aboard the Cordelia, convinced for a moment that he had died. He then remembered, Silas, Ophelia, the horror. He had been unconscious too long. Did you know there were sharks? Rowan asked.
Yes, Silas replied. I knew.
Ophelia never wanted to talk about it.
She dreamt of it.
She decided not to pursue the perpetrators. She wanted the Covenant to believe the brothers were dead.
It was the only way to protect them. You worked for the Covenant, Rowan finally said. It was not an accusation but a statement of fact.
Redgrave had never known about them. Now he investigated cautiously. Silas feared for his life. Rowan reassured him discretion was their best shield.
There was a plan.
When Ophelia returned, calmer, she avoided looking at Rowan. Holling had arranged rooms for Edmund and Silas.
They were to stay.
Silas suggested his country house, newly remodeled, isolated, and secure. Edmund joked. Ophelia shook her head.
Why do you say was?
Silas asked. Ophelia told him with relentless delicacy, a fire. Not an accident, but something meticulous. Looting first. Fire next.
Even the basement.
Silas cursed. Then he announced he would rebuild the house.
He asked about the stables. They're still standing, Ophelia replied.
Rowan watched her face.
There was a preemptive sorrow in it.
Ophelia knew that not all the bad news had yet been told.
It's a shame about your house, Edmund said.
Silas nodded, still in pain, and took refuge in the only thing that had survived, the stables. He spoke of them with pride, of a priceless Arabian foal fast as the wind. Lightning! Edmund laughed at the name. Ophelia shook her head.
Don't you agree?
Silas asked, suspicious.
Oh yes, she replied softly. He was fast as the wind.
Silence fell like a slab.
Was.
Ophelia took a deep breath.
There had been an attack.
A shot.
The horse fell with eyes wide open.
Silas collapsed against the cushions, covering his face.
Nothing is sacred, he murmured. Apparently not, Rowan said dryly.
The look Ophelia gave him was lethal.
I told you he would be disappointed. It wasn't over.
The new carriage, spacious, luxurious, lined with soft leather, had also burned. Edmund reacted before anyone else.
Were you inside? They wanted to kill me, Ophelia replied without dramatics. I was coming to get Silas.
She had returned to England 2 months earlier, not 2 weeks. Rowan noted it silently. His irritation didn't hide his concern. Ophelia continued. The attack on the outskirts of London, branches blocking the road, the blow to the head, the smoke. She hadn't opened the door, she escaped through the window, clawing her way out just in time.
They were after the letters, Edmund said.
Ophelia nodded. Rowan then understood the bruises on her shoulders. Silas understood too, and had to be restrained. Ophelia did not apologize for the fear, nor did she deny it. Rowan for once did not contradict her.
They couldn't be separated.
Together they were in danger, apart dead. Edmund summed it up bluntly. As long as Rowan chased the night guardian, the Covenant would not stop hunting him.
We didn't send her, Silas clarified.
Ophelia devised the plan on her own. By the time we found out, she had already gone. Rowan accepted the information and moved to the essentials.
There was enough intelligence to start.
Harcourt had been a legitimate director. His recruits, Frost, Fox, and the Regent.
At least one was still alive. Perhaps 2.
And one or both, now operated under Wilton, living a double life. The posthumous medals had not been an honor, they had been a smokescreen. Appeasement. Politics. Ophelia listened in silence, until impatience got the better of her.
And the plan?
Rowan nodded.
There is one.
To draw the hounds off my trail.
But there's a problem.
Ophelia, Edmund said.
Exactly.
They couldn't know she was the night guardian.
But they knew Fox had kept the letters. They didn't find them at the house. They searched Oxford.
They watched Silas. They burned what they didn't understand.
Chapter 40.
Letters written in the shadows.
I imagine they searched your rooms in Oxford more than once, Rowan said.
Silas nodded.
They had to be sure.
For a time you were the logical candidate. Ophelia was barely a child, and Hale had already taken her away. No one would have believed Fox would entrust something so dangerous to a man like him.
unless he had known him long before.
The relief was almost physical. Ophelia felt it like a weight lifting from her chest. From Edmund's expression, she was not the only one.
And then?
Silas pressed.
They waited, Rowan replied. They knew that sooner or later the letters would resurface.
And so they did. Hale gave them to Ophelia. Ophelia showed them to you. You shared the information with Edmund.
We already know that, Silas snapped, impatient. Let him be, Ophelia whispered. Rowan needs to put the pieces in order. When Edmund spoke to Wilton, he went to the tribunal, Rowan continued. That's when it all began. I trusted the wrong man, Edmund murmured. Exactly. They're still looking for the letters, Silas said. And they will while they still breathe, Rowan agreed.
Edmund straightened slowly.
Now that they believe us dead, there's only one person who could have them.
He looked at Ophelia.
They know it's you. They can't be sure, she objected. If they were, they would have killed me already. That's why they destroyed the house, the carriage. They're still searching. They have nowhere left, Silas counted. Only one option. Go after her, Edmund said. I won't allow it, Rowan stated coldly. Even so, they may believe one of you hid the letters before falling. The waiting is driving them mad. So what do we do?
Edmund asked. Rowan turned to Ophelia. Do you remember what you asked me that night at the tavern? She nodded slowly.
I asked you to kill me. What?
Silas exclaimed.
She did, Rowan confirmed without taking his eyes off her. And he refused, Ophelia added. I knew he would. But what does that have to do with your speculations?
Rowan smiled. The dimple appeared dangerous.
It's very simple, my love. I've changed my mind.
Absolute silence fell.
I've decided to oblige you.
The Night Guardian had to die. Rowan said it quietly, as if the decision had already been made long ago, and only needed to be spoken aloud. Silas nodded without hesitation. Ophelia, however, shot to her feet.
I'm not going to die. He's not talking about you, Edmund clarified gently. He means the pirate.
Ophelia glared at them.
She knew exactly what they meant.
It had taken her years to build that identity, that freedom won through risk and cunning, and now they intended to bury it with a single sentence. She protested, but no one listened. The men had already moved into the realm of action. The logic was flawless. If the Night Guardian died, or if the world believed he had, the Covenant would lose its prey. Rowan would abandon the hunt, and with it the trail that put them all in danger. Ophelia understood, though it hurt to admit it. The relief was brief, almost imperceptible but real.
When the Night Guardian dies, Rowan said, you won't be able to return to the sea. It's the only thing I know how to do.
Silas answered for her, with a calm that betrayed her better than any confession. Ophelia had never been the pirate, she was the effective shadow on land, the mind that opened impossible doors. Rowan looked at her then as if he were seeing her clearly for the first time, and he didn't like what he saw.
Not out of disdain but fear.
The argument was interrupted by a commotion in the house. Ophelia left without asking. When the door closed, Rowan spoke plainly.
She'll get used to it. And when she does, it will be too late to turn back.
The plan required proof, a sunken ship, witnesses, a Night Guardian dead before the eyes of the world. The Cordelia would be sacrificed, or its reflection. Silas proposed the ruse with pragmatism, Rowan agreed. Hale would cooperate, if explained properly.
As long as he believed, he was protecting Ophelia.
When they were alone, the silence changed its texture. Ophelia returned different, quieter. She announced she would seek refuge with Lady Brierly. Rowan cut her off without raising his voice.
You're staying with me. It would be easier for you if I left.
Why? Because then you could hate me comfortably, she thought. Because forgiveness requires proximity. She said it almost like that, and Rowan understood more than she intended.
I loved you, he said. That doesn't disappear because you lied to me.
Ophelia stepped back, seeking space, but the room ran out. Rowan cornered her without touching her, his hands braced against the wall as if containing a storm.
Tell me the truth, he asked. Just once.
She resisted as always.
Until she could no longer.
Because I wanted you to touch me, she admitted finally.
Because I care about you.
She looked into his eyes, prepared for sarcasm or mockery.
There was none.
Only a grave, almost reverent attention. The pursuit of the covenant continued. The danger was still there.
But between them something had changed course.
And this time there was no turning back. Chapter 41. The real threat. Rowan did not laugh. Ophelia's admission had pleased him, and made him dangerous as well. She accepted grudgingly that he had the right.
You're nothing like the man in the file, she said. Not even the director truly knows you. He stiffened. You read my file.
He gripped her by the shoulders, not in fury, but with an incredulity that hurt just as much.
All night, she replied. It's long.
Rowan shook his head, stunned.
It should have been sealed.
Erased.
It was.
Solid locks. Good bolts.
Not enough, he murmured. I never read it myself. You lived every mission, Ophelia shot back. The file said nothing about your life.
Or the Kerrigans. Why does it unsettle you so much? He pinned her against the wall.
Do you know everything I did? Yes. Let me go. You're hurting me. He didn't. And you still came looking for me. Weren't you afraid? A little.
Your story is picturesque.
But once I met you, I doubted its accuracy. Don't, he cut in. There's no exaggeration.
Ophelia held his gaze.
You did what you had to do.
Rowan wasn't sure he believed her. My operational name.
Hound. Damn it. I needed to know everything, she said. You were in danger. You didn't think I could defend myself. Yes. But I promised something to your brother. And I keep my promises.
He studied her with new attention.
Your word matters to you. Very much. Then why read my file? To find your weak point. We all have one. And you protect the weak.
Like your father. I used it.
By pretending to be in danger. I was. But I could also handle it alone.
Rowan conceded it with the smallest gesture.
You thought I would save you, she said. And you became my guardian. And you mine. Does that wound your pride? It wounds me to have been manipulated. Your arrogance will survive, she smiled. You would have given your life for me. I heard you say it.
Rowan closed his eyes for a moment.
Was there a single moment without lies?
Silence.
I gave you my protection, he went on. Do you know what you gave me? Lies. And something else.
Her blush betrayed her.
My love, he said. I didn't give it to you. You did.
Do you remember what I said that night?
No. Another lie.
Ophelia tried to pull away, panic caught up with her. Rowan stepped closer without touching her.
I told you that you would belong to me.
Now and always.
You weren't serious. I was. Rowan, I deceived you. You didn't know who I was. Let's forget what was said. I don't want to. I can't stay. You don't like me.
I'm a thief.
You were.
That's over.
You'll never change that much. I wasn't talking about myself, he burst out. I'm talking about you. I won't. You will. Why? Because I won't tolerate it.
Ophelia lowered her gaze.
She didn't want to understand.
And yet she already understood far too much.
Chapter 42.
Violence disguised as order. Ophelia did not want to understand.
What I do is none of your concern, she said, tense. My men depend on me. I won't abandon them. Then they'll depend on someone else, Rowan shot back. Your days as a thief are over.
The ringing in her ears came instantly, but irritation overcame fear.
When I leave, you won't see me again. And don't worry, I won't come back to steal from you. She stepped away from him.
Only then did she notice Silas and Hale watching from the doorway.
They had heard too much. She had shouted too much as well.
Rowan had driven her to it.
Why do you care what she does?
Silas asked. Rowan pulled himself together.
Silas, we'll talk later.
Ophelia, wait with Hale in the dining room. Holling, make sure we're not interrupted. Hale understood before anyone else.
Just a moment, lad.
He went in, took the silver bowl from the shelf, and came back out.
It would be a shame if it broke. I'll take it with me.
Rowan's giving it to me, he added, seeing Ophelia's protest.
So don't scowl. The doors closed.
The first blow rang out like a gunshot.
They're going to kill each other, Silas and Rowan.
Ophelia cried.
Hale. They've wanted to for a while, he murmured, putting an arm around her shoulders. Come on. The cook is serving dessert. She screamed.
Hale gave up and went to the dining room with the bowl tucked under his arm. The blows continued.
Then there was a knock at the front door.
"Milady," Holling asked, torn, "could you see who it is?"
You keep watch here, Ophelia replied, mimicking his stance. I'll go.
The door opened.
The Duke and Duchess of Ashcombe, Holling whispered, horrified.
Ophelia transformed instantly. She hurried to them and curtsied. The Duke smiled. The Duchess stared fixedly at the salon doors. A scream tore through the hall.
You stole her innocence, you wretch.
Ophelia swallowed. Good morning.
What is going on here? The Duchess demanded. A discussion, Ophelia improvised. About the harvests. The harvests, the Duke repeated. Crop rotation, Holling interjected, glass shattering in the background. My lord is inflexible. Very, Ophelia confirmed. The absurdity hung in the air. Shall we go upstairs?
Ophelia asked.
Please. At last the Duke reacted and took her hands. You kept your word. I never doubted it.
He dragged his wife upstairs amid protests and comments about curls, green eyes and suspicious redheads. When they disappeared, Ophelia sighed.
The die is cast. So it seems, milady.
The noise stopped.
They killed each other, Ophelia said gloomily.
My employer would never kill his brother, Holling replied.
I'll fetch brandy.
The salon was a battlefield. Shattered furniture, glass everywhere. Rowan and Silas were sitting against the wall, bloodied, and smiling. Ophelia's relief turned into fury.
Have you settled your dispute? Yes, Rowan replied, landing another blow on Silas.
Definitely, Silas agreed, returning the favor. They laughed.
You're idiots, Ophelia said, trembling.
Holling poured the drinks.
Do you intend to get them drunk? She protested. It would be an improvement, milady. The sofa was the culprit, the butler diagnosed. Just as I suspected.
Ophelia turned to leave. Rowan caught her by the dress.
Sit down. Where? We've reached an agreement. My sister will be difficult, Silas warned. She always is.
Rowan stood. Can you walk on your own?
Crawl never. I don't want to be alone with you, Ophelia said. I'm sorry. Your parents are upstairs. I know. She hesitated. Her eyes filled with tears. Did that trouble you? He asked more gently. No, Ophelia replied too quickly. And it wasn't true.